Yeah. So when we think about it philosophically, I think it's definitely a shift. I also think it's the collapse of the modern MarTech stack. And a lot of times you have to fundamentally, it's sort of like whatever the stages of grief are. You have to sort of accept what has happened. And I don't
Yeah.
think anyone's in the acceptance phase yet. Like Gemini came out yesterday and it showed some amazing things and capabilities and people using GPT. But the process of starting to accept that your website, your digital experience, Google search results are not going to be a list of websites in the next 2 years. It just can't be. If
Yeah.
they continue down that path, it will be a completely different result than what people want, which is they want to have a dialogue and get answers. And you can already see this in how people are engaging. Now, if you follow SEOs, talking about these elements, so many of them are going, wait a second, this new generative thing, there's no links. Like, why am I feeding them the knowledge to then answer it? And I'm like, I hate to tell you this, everyone. There's no real contract between your content and Google. You have
Right.
a handshake. I provide the content. You'll show me in results. But all of that starts to change as you and I can go outside of Google and have direct dialogues with brands. So the philosophical shift here is from centralized search and conversation to decentralized search and conversation. Where, Greg, you have an earpiece where you're walking around and just talking to your personal AI, and you say something like, "Hey, I want to take the family to Disney this week or next week. Talk to every hotel and get back to me on what offers they have for a family of five." That is a very different world than you and I typing something into Google or any centralized search system and seeing that information. So the way to think about preparing this is, number one, it's a better experience, but you're really going to start to move away from the massive amount of money you're spending in ads to really focusing on, in a dialogue, you can make offers. And I wrote about this in Adweek about 3 weeks ago, which is, I think the market starts to move from ads to offers, where you really got to think about what knowledge can you share with clients in a dialogue. But if you and I have, let's say, I go to that same Disney example. I live here in Florida. They have a train now from where I live up to Disney World. Well, that's pretty fun. That's exciting. Why don't we do a quick getaway? In that process, I don't need to go to Google anymore. If I want to talk to an AI and say, "Hey, listen, plan a 3-day itinerary for the family. I want to hit certain things, but I want to keep it, the price right." Well, if each of the companies that AI reaches out to has a knowledge graph and
Yeah.
has an AI in front of it, you literally will not go to Google. You will get a dossier that says, "Here's the plan. Does this look good? Do you want me to book it?" And I know people think that's far fetched. It's not. I have already built something similar to this. And it gets to this point of marketing will go back to what I think it originally should have been, which is it's awareness and it's engagement. We got into this weird middle ground because everyone went to one centralized search place instead of to the brands. This weird middle ground where we decided surveillance. You've heard the phrase, if the product is free, then the product is me. And
Right.
what that is every time I use all these tools, Google, Facebook, all of them, they're monetizing access to me from a surveillance perspective. And that really starts to decline in value to the customer journey. So I think there's many ways to attack it. But being ready for that is about understanding what in your current MarTech stack is almost exclusively focused on tracking and pushing slightly altered monologues at people. And I would start to decline that. And I'd start to really focus on how quickly can you start to get a dialogue going. And that actually could be as easy as adding a search bar or a chat to start to gather what are people asking you. It just blows my mind. Brands spend billions, over 200 billion,
Yeah.
trying to place ads in Google where the consumer went there because they wanted to ask a question. They didn't want drop down menus. Google's whole platform is one search box, but that search box is a dialogue. It is the beginning of a dialogue with the customer. And think
Yeah.
of how many brands don't spend a dime on their own website search because the tech has not been there. And I guess what I'd say to everybody is it's here. The tech is here now. Like between search and chat, the tech is here to deliver an amazing interactive experience that I think starts to really decentralize the customer journey from Google.